Hi, welcome to Fabric Bias. It is Tuesday, July 9th, 2024, and I am working on my checklist, and this is my cat beds project, and I'm in the middle of doing it, and I thought I'd show you the steps. It's a pretty easy sew, and so I thought I'd show you the steps I take to make this project. So I start off by, my final dimensions are 17 inches long by 15 inches wide. So I start off by cutting a piece of fabric that is 15.5 inches wide to account for my seam allowances. And this would be 17.5 inches long, except I just cut it 35 and fold it in half. And normally you wouldn't put a seam allowance on the side that you fold, but I am actually going to be sewing that as well. So I do want to have a seam allowance in there. So I go 15.5 by 35 inches long in my cut. And I just take that and I fold it in half, and I fold it in half right sides together. And then I do the same thing for the batting. I cut a similar piece, and I'm doing my cat bed with 2 layers of batting. So I just cut an exact same size as my piece of fabric and fold it in half, and I lay it on top. And so once I have them all nicely matched up, on that, I move on to the next step. And so what I'm going to do here then is I'm going to sew the batting onto just one side of my fabric. And all I'm doing is just holding it in place while I work with it to stitch it actually onto the fabric. So you probably don't have to do this step. I just like to do it. So I just sew from one corner to the other corner just to kind of get it in place, and again only on one layer of the fabric. And then once I've done that, then I'm going to go ahead and sew all the way around. So I'm going to start on this side, the open side, and I'm going to start a little ways away from the edge. I'm going to put my turning gap here, and I want it to be fairly big because that makes it easier to turn it through. So I'm going to start and stitch here, back stitch, come to the corner, back stitch, and come all the way down to this side and stitch, come. Even though it's a fold and I don't need to sew it because it's already closed, I'm going to stitch down this side to get my batting caught in place so my batting doesn't shift as the piece gets washed on it. So I'm going to go ahead and stitch down this side, turn again, come back up this side, and then come back up a distance up here, leaving again that large turning gap so it's easy to turn on it. And so that is this piece right here. So I have it all stitched, and my turning gap is right here. What I do next is I'm going to have to clip my corners, and I've clipped this one so I can show you. So you clip all 4 of your corners, and then you're going to turn this whole thing right side out. And what I like to do is on my clipped corners, all 4, I like to try to work them in just a little ways, and I'll do that with all the corners and make sure I've got them nice and sharp, just kind of pushing with my fingernail before I take and I pull the whole thing through on that. So that'll be the next step on this bag. Once I'm done with that, you have it all the way pulled through. You got your corners nicely poked out. You might still have to use a turning tool to get that done. It's laying nice and flat. This right here, you need to close your turning gap. So it's really easy to do. You just stick your fingers inside and kind of pull, and it will fold naturally where it needs to go most of the time. And then once you've got that in place, you can press it if you'd like to. I don't find the need on these bags, but you're going to top stitch right down this side to close your turning gap. If you want, you could top stitch the entire bag. I only choose to top stitch the one side there. Once that's done, then the last thing you can do is, so there's your top stitching. I go in on these ones. I decided I was going to go in about an inch, inch and a half, probably inch and a half, and I was just going to sew a square. And here's my original diagonal holding in place, and I'm going to sew a square. Sometimes I go in a little bit deeper, so about what is that? That's 5 inches, probably about 4 inches in, and I sew a square that's 4 inches in here on that. And that's just all about keeping your batting from shifting. But I do have it stitched on here on this one side, so it shouldn't shift from all that much for me. And then you have your nice cushy little cat bed because you are all done. So let me show you what I've got done so far. I have these 5 finished, And then the ones that I was just showing you on how to sew, I've got 4 in process where I've actually started stitching just so I could show you the steps. I have 2 here ready to be cut out, and then I have a stack of 6 that I got out of the dryer that I just need to start the whole process with. And I have almost all of my batting cut out, so I've got this pretty far done. So there they are so far. I hope you like them. I hope that wherever and whenever you're at, you're having a great time. And thanks for watching.